It's time to brace for impact, New Yorkers. 2 days ago, we were expecting a run-of-the-mill, just February storm. Something we're used to handling, very accustomed to. Just a little snow, maybe moderate disruption, really nothing to get too excited about. But over the last 24 hours, this forecast had shifted dramatically. And once again, New York State is in the crosshairs of a very dangerous, fast-moving, potentially life-threatening winter storm.
I have just declared a state of emergency effective at noon Sunday, February 22nd for all 21 counties in New Jersey as we prepare for dangerous winter weather conditions from Sunday into Monday.
Well, hello everybody, this is Chief Meteorologist Andrew Pinero. Boy, do we have a weather phenomena to talk about, and in this case, it is going to be a blizzard. Now, blizzards are very interesting, where they're not necessarily measured by the amount of snow that you get. They are more measured by what the storm feels like, the visibility, the wind speed, and the duration. So you can have a blizzard with 2 inches of snow. You can have just a plain winter storm with 30 inches of snow. They're not necessarily related there. But this blizzard, it looks like we are going to be getting, depending on exactly where, maybe up to 20 inches of snow. Now, I know that sounds extreme. It's not out of the realm of possibility because we did have something like that not too long ago, just a few weeks ago. Pretty much the week before I came here to California, we were just seeing 16 inches of snow, I think, or 14 inches of snow is what I got. But anyway, it was at least a foot of snow. So, a foot of snow is very possible with this system. So now what I'm going to do, let's head into the virtual weather studio, and we're going to take a peek at some of these maps together out in the virtual snowfield. All right, inside the mobile weather office here, we are in Yosemite, in the snow caps now. This is actually not too far from me. Maybe one day I will get here. But for at least right now, we are going to focus on not the snow here, because this was quite an incident that happened here. There was reports of 6 feet of snow that fell around Tahoe, not necessarily Yosemite, but around Tahoe. Avalanches, at least 8 people were killed right now, so that was definitely a tragedy here. So there's a lot going on from coast to coast. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to look at the maps for the Northeast. So let's start this way. All right. So as I mentioned in my short, blizzard warning is pretty much from Delaware, Maryland, all the way through New Jersey. And then we can continue even into the New York City area here, all around basically the eastern half of New Jersey, all of Long Island, Rockland, Westchester County, all of the counties along the southern shore of Connecticut, continuing even more north here. We're going into Rhode Island and Massachusetts, all along here, blizzard warnings. So this is significant here. So I'm going to go back down to the New York City area, and we're going to take a look at the blizzard warning here. So with this blizzard warning, what we are seeing is from 1 p.m. Sunday, so 1 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern Time, which is 3 hours ahead for me, to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Monday. So this is a more than one-day event, which is one of the criteria for a blizzard is the duration. So what? Blizzard conditions expected. Total snow accumulations between 12 and 18 inches. That might be a little on the higher side in some areas. I'll show you shortly. But to highest towards New York City Metro, winds gusting as high as 50 miles per hour. Northeast New Jersey. And then basically, this is all the possibilities of quarter-inch mile visibility due to blowing snow, whiteout conditions. This will make treacherous potentially life-threatening. Strong winds and the weight of the snow on tree limbs and power lines can lead to downed power lines, so you got to keep that in mind as well. Travel could be very difficult to impossible. So this is nothing to just write home about. This is going to be a significant storm no matter where it lands. And a lot of the model guidance is looking pretty good right now. But before we get there, I just want to show you on the bigger picture here, the radar. So with the radar, we're really not seeing too much organization. A little bit of some storminess happening around there in Georgia, a little bit of some stuff around the Great Lakes, a little bit of stuff in the middle, but it doesn't look like one system. But all of these pieces, as they move into the northeast, they're going to start to spin and create basically a low, and that's where the blizzard comes in. On the satellite, kind of the same picture we're seeing here. This is where it looks pretty disorganized at the moment. You got a good amount of energy or moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico in the south, and that's going to wrap into the low as this comes in. So that's what we're seeing there. Now let's start taking a look at the forecast models here. So let's advance frame by frame here. Right there. Starting to see some rain. This is 12Z Sunday. So it's right on the freezing line there for the GFS here on the good old tropical tidbits. So right on the freezing line there. And then by the time we get to 18Z, so this is 1 p.m. Eastern time, that's where the snow is really starting. And that is a lot of moisture. Heavy snow there, turning into heavy rain right over here. And this is going to stay with us. Next frame is going to show us all this now as the sun is setting. So we're at 0Z Monday, which is 7 p.m. Eastern time Sunday. Heavy snow. And all of this is going to stay. There's that low pressure center that kind of that formed and pulled in with that counterclockwise rotation. All the moisture from the south we just looked at. Next frame here still shows it in the area. It's still tightly wrapped, and it's moving out to sea a little bit now. This is 6Z Monday, so that's 1 a.m. Now this is 7 a.m. This is where it's still showing some snow. Not as heavy around the New York City area, even going down into the Delmarva area, not as bad. But now it's Boston's storm. Boston's getting hammered there, 12Z on Monday. Then going into the afternoon, still there, and it kind of just sits there now. From 12 to 18Z, if you look, it moved from there. So from there to there, that's all it moved in 6 hours. So it's just parked there. So Boston could get some pretty high snow totals out of this, it looks like. And then this starts making its way through later on in the day. But isobars are very tightly packed together, so high pressure gradient. So that means windy. Northerly winds around the backside of this low. So we got cold wind coming in from the north. Strong winds as well. So that was the GFS. Now, taking a look at pivotal weather here. We're going to go frame by frame as well. So just one frame at a time here. Oh, there we go. So right about here, where are we? So that's the 0Z Monday. So we're going to go back a little bit. There we go. One more. So here, we're seeing a little bit of maybe some showers, kind of what the GFS was showing. The next frame here going into 18Z. This is showing mixing. So that's kind of setting up the same way. Then going into 0Z, this is where the heart of it is. Heavy snowfall. There's our low pressure center. So heavy snowfall right around Delmarva over there. And then that's going to continue making its way north, bringing into heavy snowfall along the Jersey Shore, along Long Island, maybe even getting a bit into New York City as well. Not necessarily as much going into a little bit more inland like the Hudson Valley or northern New Jersey. But all this energy is not just going straight out to sea. This is going to continue up this way. So we're going to go one more frame there. There we go. So now we're at 12Z Monday. So very consistent here. Boston is now getting targeted by the Euro. And that's exactly the same situation as we just saw with the GFS there. So that's what the Euro's showing. And then if we go one more here, high pressure gradient around the backside there. This is continuing through the day, pretty much out by 0Z on Tuesday, which is 7 p.m. Monday, but strong winds in place. All right, our next forecast model, Icon here. And with the Icon, let's take a peek. Let's go frame by frame until it comes in. Looks like right about there. 15Z Sunday. So this shows no ice. It's only snow or rain. So it's showing rain there by 15Z, but then the temperature does drop. Oh, it doesn't pick up the temperature drop yet. It only picks up temperature drop later in the day. So heavy rain is showing there. That is quite a difference. The icon is not necessarily the most accurate, but it's good to take a little bit more looks at other forecast models for data. So this is showing, maybe mixing in there, but it's definitely not showing snow. And then heavy rain, Delmarva area. Then it turns to heavy snows 7 p.m. Sunday, so that's 0Z Monday. And that heavy snow now starts coming in. So a slightly different setup, but it produces the same results. Heavy snow overnight Sunday into Monday. Monday morning at 9Z, looking the same there. Let's go to 12Z. Now, 12Z Monday is a little bit different than either of these forecast models. So here, it's showing still decent snow through spots in New Jersey, through the Hudson Valley, actually went up north a bit more, but it's still targeting Boston for that 12Z time frame. Then that's continuing through the day, and then it starts to move out and kind of move out of the area with high pressure gradients, so that's consistent. Later in the day, Monday into Tuesday, so due northerly winds. So it's going to get cold and very windy after this. And the last one I'll show you here, this is the NAM. So with the NAM, what we're seeing here is, let me see, we got the 18Z. Let's make sure we get to the same spot there. Here comes the storm. There it is down there. So we're at 13Z. So let's go back on the 12Z Sunday. That's the picture, a little bit different, but also this is near surface reflectivity versus average precipitation rates. So kind of the same setup as the icon, warmer in there. Let's advance 2 frames, 14Z. Still raining around Delmarva. So that is kind of setting up 2 camps. It looks like the NAM and the icon are in one camp, and then the pivotal weather for the Euro and the GFS are in another camp. So we've got these 2 on one, these 2 on a camp. So that's kind of what we're seeing right now. And then let me see if it gets to later in the day. That's 18Z Sunday. Starting to get cold enough for snow up there, but still heavy rain down there. So 20Z, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. So now we're at 0Z. Now we are cold enough for snow all through there. So if you notice also, it didn't move much. It kind of stayed around there as the temperatures dropped enough to go from rain to heavy snow. So Delmarva could get messy. The snow totals will probably be lower because we're starting as heavy rain, then turning to snow. But in here, we're still seeing bands of heavy snow, and that's going to continue to make its way north through New Jersey, through the New York City area, the Hudson Valley, Long Island, South Shore, Connecticut, going into New England. So right there, we're at 4Z. Let's go 5, 6Z. There's the picture, 6Z, so that's 1 a.m. Heavy snow in a lot of areas. This is going to be coming up now. So now we're at 12Z Monday. Let me go back one real quick. So, yep, still heavy snow there, 9Z. 12Z. Boston's still targeted. So 12Z Boston, that is the consistency with every single one of these forecast models. Was 12Z Monday, Boston, you got to look out, because we got 4 forecast models in complete agreement about that. So heavy snow still going on in Long Island there. Still going later in the day. We're at 18Z Monday, and then this makes its way out later in the day, overnight. Still petering slowly out, but the isobars, the pressure gradient's close. We're still getting a northerly wind in here. So we're definitely seeing consistency between all these models. So that brings my forecast confidence pretty high in here. So we're going to pause right through this, and now we're going to take a look very quickly at some snow totals. So I'm going to go total positive snow depth change. There's the NAM. It is showing the 12 to 18. So let's see the icon. It doesn't show total positive snow depth. It shows total snowfall true SLR. So this is in, looks like 7, 8. So around 8 inches there. On pivotal weather, I do not have access to the winter weather part, except total snowfall 10 to 1. And now, let's advance through this. So that is Tuesday 0Z. That should be about it. So this is showing 9-10 inches of snow there. And kind of what we're seeing, Boston's getting the target with the most snow there. So if you skew, Boston gets the most, Long Island and Jersey Shore get the second most, and then inland from there gets the third most. That is consistent through the models. The exact actual amount may differ. All right, so now over here, let's take a peek. And we're going to go, this one does have total, not the regions, total positive snow depth. There it is, total positive snow depth. And for 0Z Tuesday, this is showing 10-12 inches there. Boston kind of around, so it's not actually targeting Boston over there for the heavy snow, 10 to 12 inches. But if you look at all these, 10 to 12 inches there, or 8 to 12 inches, I would say. And this is showing 10 to 12 inches, it looks like. This is showing 8 inches. And this is showing 12 to 18 inches. They may be leaning a bit more on the NAM for the blizzard warning, because if we go back over here to the blizzard warning, and we go into that, you'll see, where was it? Oh, 15 to, actually, this might have just changed. So 15 to 20, and that is the closest to the NAM here. So with the NAM, they might be following this a little bit more. It can have a better handle in winter weather scenarios. So that's what we're seeing. I would say at least 6 inches of snow out of this. And then we're going to be getting, worst case scenario is probably going to be here, the 12 to 18. But I would probably put my money more on the Euro for this. So this is where we will see about 10 inches of snow, unless you're along the coastline areas there. That can be your up to 18 inches. So that's what I'm going with for this storm.
All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that little bit of a more detailed look into the storm. I will definitely keep you all updated, but I do also just want to mention I do have on my channel here a playlist, How to Prepare for a Storm, and in there is something about emergency communications, one of which is here, this radio I got from bettersaferadio.com. That will be linked below. I do have an affiliation with bettersaferadio.com, so if you use that link, it helps me. It has no extra cost for you. It's definitely maybe too late right now to order your radio for this storm, but it is very good to have some sort of emergency communication radio. So whether if you're outside in sunny California like it is right here, or back at home where we do have this blizzard, it is good to be prepared with storm preparations. Alright, so that is going to be a wrap for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. If you're new to the channel and you want to keep updated with this blizzard that's coming, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell icon right next to that so you get notified whenever I upload videos like this. Or sometimes I go live. I don't know my live situation just yet here, so maybe not as much live content as I used to make. But I'll definitely keep you updated, at least with shorts, because that seems to be working really well. Alright everybody, this is Chief Meteorologist Andrew Pinero. Stay safe through this, I will keep you updated, and I will see you all in the next video.